Hi, I'm Frank Tybush, the Creative Director for Tonal Vision. Today, I'm talking about the Canon 7D, and I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to use it for video. When we shoot video with the Canon 7D, it's usually for shots that you need to look really nice but aren't long. The camera has about a 12-minute cap for the maximum amount of time it can shoot before you need to stop and start it again. But that doesn't matter as much because the camera overheats after about 10 to 15 minutes. So the ideal situation is where you're shooting short shots and have a little bit of a break in between each shot. Perfect for like an indie film or a short. A couple other things to think about with the camera is that the audio with the camera is all auto. It's basically just a camera mic. So you really want to shoot external audio if you're using this camera. All right, the first thing you need to do with the camera is to put the lens on. Now, when you don't have a lens on the camera, make sure all your caps are on the camera and on the lens themselves, because dirt, dust can get in the lens. You can get scratched the lens. You want to protect them. To attach the lens, you match the white dot on top, which is also a red dot on the inside, to the red dot on the camera. Turn clockwise and you'll hear it click. To take it off, there is a button right next to the lens. Press it in, turn counterclockwise, and the lens will pop right out. Now you also want to make sure that there's a memory card in the camera. On the side of the camera there is a door. Just press it out and it flops open. There is a little gray button. Press it in. That'll pop out the memory card. Now when you put it in, it should slide in nice and easy. If you feel any resistance at all, you're putting it in wrong and you want to stop. The last thing you need to check before turning the camera on is make sure there's a battery in there. So right on the bottom of the camera, there is a panel. Battery's in there. If you need to change the battery for any reason, there's a little white tab. Press it down, battery shoots right out. Like the memory card, if you're putting the battery in right, it should just slide right in. If you're putting it in wrong, you'll feel resistance, you'll want to stop. Okay. Now, to turn on the camera, there is a switch on the top right here. You want to switch it from off to on. You should see the viewfinder pop up. If not, it's because this switch up here is set to the little white camera. Just push that over to the little red camera. You're going to need that switch to the red camera to be able to shoot video. First thing you want to do is make sure the memory card is cleaned off. You press the menu button right here to bring up the menu. Right now we are on the correct tab. If you need to switch between the tabs, you use the main dial, which is right up on top of the camera right here, and you will see that you move between the tabs. The tab you're looking for is the first blue tab. You'll know you're right if it says protect images, rotate, erase images. Now this wheel right here is the quick select wheel. You use that to go through the submenu. So you want to go on erase images, and the button right in the center is the select button. Press that, drop you into another menu. Usually you do all images on card. Select, confirm, and you're set. Press the menu button again to get out. All right, and you want to make sure you check the battery life on the camera. There's two spots, right on this back viewfinder in the lower right-hand corner. And then you can also, on the little LCD on top, you can see it there as well. Make sure you have enough battery life for the shoot. If you don't, change the battery. Okay. The next thing you want to do is set the mode on the camera. Depending on the mode will give you different functions you can do. For this tutorial, I'm just going to talk about Creative Auto. That is the mode where the camera does most of the work, but the camera's internal sensors are actually pretty good for shooting auto. And to have Creative Auto, it's just this CA right here. Now you could have it on full auto. Full auto and Creative Auto are very similar. I don't see that much of a difference personally, but I like to keep it on Creative Auto. If you're feeling adventurous, you can switch it to full manual, which is the M up top. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but there will be a supplemental video where I explain how to set all the settings for full manual. After setting the mode, you want to see if you have the camera set to autofocus or manual focus. Even though this is Creative Auto, you can decide between manual focus and autofocus. There is a switch right on the side of the camera here. You want to make sure it's switched to AF to have autofocus. Then you line up the little box in the viewfinder with whatever the subject is that you want in focus. If you have something on the side of the frame you want in focus, but you don't want to have to move to the center of the frame, you can use this little button right here and adjust where the box is. Wherever the box is where the camera will focus on. Next thing, you want to set the zoom. Since this is not a machine zoom, it has to be done manually by moving this wheel right here. So you get the shot how you want it, get the zoom set, and now you're set to have the camera do its thing to set the settings. In the front here, I'll show it like this, there is the shutter button. If you depress the shutter button about halfway, it will set the settings. That will set focus, shutter, aperture, everything. You can also adjust just the autofocus by pressing the autofocus button on the back of the camera. And a great tool is this focus assist button. You can zoom in not only 5 times, but 10 times to make sure you're set perfectly right with the focus. So once you're zoomed in, press the autofocus button and it will readjust. Press it once more to clear it out. Now, as I said before, you can actually have this on manual focus, and in some cases it's important to have it on manual focus if the autofocus is having trouble, which sometimes it does. If there's a lot going on in the shot, if you're trying to shoot, like say, through a chain link fence, you're going to have some trouble focusing through that fence. But if you change it to manual focus, then you can adjust it yourself. And this is definitely where you want to use the focus assist. And if that focus assist isn't enough, there is an accessory that you can buy that not only helps if it's bright out and you're having trouble seeing the LCD screen, but it magnifies the LCD screen. And it just clips on through magnets. Now you're set to shoot. You simply press the start-stop button and the recording sign will come up. A couple things to keep in mind while it's recording. You cannot change the focus through autofocus while it's recording. You would have to have it set to manual. The thing I'll caution you about though is that since it is manual, it's kind of jerky. You have to really practice and have a steady hand to change the focus while filming. Same thing for the zoom. Since the zoom is not a machine zoom, you have to do it by hand. And if you haven't practiced, if you're not familiar with the camera, there's a good chance it could be jerky and not look good. So it's best with this camera to set the zoom and the focus ahead of time and stay on that subject. Now, there are rigs you can buy that can help assist with focusing while shooting, but just to caution you, they get expensive. Some of them are more expensive than the camera themselves. When you're done filming, you just press the start-stop button again, and a little red light goes off. Now remember, you don't want to do a bunch of shooting right after each other with this camera. As I said before, it overheats. So you do want to give it a little bit of time between the shots, especially if it's a hot day, if you're under hot lighting, you're going to run into that risk. Once you're done shooting and you want to get the footage off the camera, it's real simple. Turn the camera off, plug in the USB, plug the other end into your computer. Then you turn on the camera and use whichever program you prefer to get the footage off the camera. There's many different programs. Thank you for watching. I hope I simplified a camera that might seem complicated to shoot with, but it's really not. Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to set it for manual and change all of those settings. Have a good day.